Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the Bismarck in Ranked. Of course, taking a look at Massachusetts earlier, it's just Massachusetts doing what it does. It's kind of an overpowered ship. It's a very, very strong tier 8 battleship at the very least. Bismarck is decent to not amazing, I think, for most people. But we're going to make it work here in Ranked. This one's a little more complicated as we're going to be pushing in, and the enemy team is going to make life a little bit tricky for us. Also, our teammates here are going to help somewhat, but our Baltimore is playing a little bit passive. As a battleship player, you should be looking to play as aggressively as you can in these early engagements. You really want to be helping on these destroyer engagements. That's really going to win you a lot of your ranked games if you can help finish off the enemy DD, or at least help that engagement a little bit. Our French DD is going wide, he's flanking, which is really, really good. Unfortunately, he's flanking right into the enemy Baltimore. So we're going to try and take out the radar as quickly as we can, but also focus on the DD. We have a Hydro up because we know it's the Kagero, since the Benson was spotted on the other side. Those are some scary torpedoes. I'm also trying to duck behind this tiny little island here to avoid the Kansas salvo. Limiting the number of people shooting at you is kind of the basics of starting to brawl and get close range with your battleships. Broadside Baltimore, it's overpens. It's a Bismarck. It's a Bismarck. We have secondaries. They're doing some damage. Feels good. But yeah, these main guns are going to troll us a little bit here, at least at the very beginning. Our Fantastic is going to die, unfortunately. But we should get some decent damage in on this Kagero, or at least I hope so. Bismarck main guns here are not going to do anything. This is probably the experience you're expecting with the Bismarck. Don't worry, it gets a little bit better. And we're still making it work. Secondaries are still going to do some damage. We're providing a little bit of vision that our Baltimore can get some damage in as well. And now we're going to pop our plane. Unfortunately, our Hydro is going to run out here as the Kagero is kind of free to come torpid us. So how do you deal with enemy DDs if you don't have a Hydro, or if your Hydro's down on something like a Bismarck? Well, this Kagero looks to be grounded on the island, so potentially he's actually coming towards us here. The smarter play would be to go away from us. Finally, by the way, main gun's working. But as a DD, you don't want to get caught between islands and the enemy team, and that's where we are actually end up spotting this Kagero. He got a little greedy for those torps. We turned in to avoid them. You just don't want to be very predictable. Knowing that he has to be broadside to torp us, we know there's not any more torps coming here anytime soon, so we can afford to turn a little bit broadside. Also allows us to angle to the Kansas here nicely. And our secondaries are going to give us some nice damage in on this Kagero. Focusing on the DD, of course, with our manual secondaries. And again, our main guns miss. Don't worry, it's okay. We're still doing a good job. He also doesn't have time to torp at us if we are going behind this island, which we're going to do. We'll take a quick blind shot, thinking he's going to turn to the right to try and torp us. And I'm correct. Always feels good that you get that blind shot in, but when he's spotted right in front of you, your ship just misses. Not the most skill-based game, one could say, but we're still going to have a good time with Bismarck. Kansas here is going to get secondary to death, and as long as we stay angled, we shouldn't be taking too much damage. Some through the superstructure. These German battleships have a bit of a weakness there, but still. We're mostly focused on not taking torpedoes. Only 24 seconds until our Hydro comes back. And I'm going to stop. I'm just going to stop because we've been going in a reasonably straight line for long enough, and this Kagero should be around this island by now to torpid us. Baltimore coming back into the game to help us with a radar, and indeed this Kagero was ready for us. So full stop, waiting, and our guns finally hit. So we take them out, little damage in from the Kansas, and we do avoid that first set of torpedoes. But we're still going to put our Hydra up just to make sure the second set doesn't get us. Going full speed now since we have stopped. He aimed for our stop, so we got to get going. And that's where this build can help out with propulsion mod. I've really enjoyed propulsion mod on a lot of battleships, on a lot of ships in general. Being able to use your speed or change in speed to avoid incoming shells, fire, torpedoes, that kind of thing is really, really powerful. And we didn't take a single torp from the Kagero, surprisingly. That's not always going to work out, but we managed to make it work. And that's a pretty nice push. Taking out 2 of the enemy ships already, and hopefully going to deal with this Kansas. Even got a solo cap here. Feels pretty nice. And turning to the left here. Now, you might want to go a little more to the right so that you get back into the fight for the A cap a little sooner. But this is just a really good tactic if an enemy is kiting away from you. You want to be pushing behind their ship, I guess. It forces them to turn more broadside to shoot you. You see how he has to lead me? He has to turn even more broadside to get a shot at us. And that opens him up to potential citadels. Here he decides to just fully turn broadside, so we get a citadel, which is very nice. Very lucky in a Bismarck too, probably. Especially considering our salvos earlier this game. But we'll take it. And yeah, around 10k to our superstructure. That's actually not too bad from a Kansas. We could easily take 15 to 20k if he gets a better salvo into that superstructure. So I'll take it. Secondary is hopefully going to help us finish this guy off. But you can see the tactics here when you're pushing in. And you do want to be pushing in. That's the key here, is you want to be pushing in these brawling secondary battleships. That's how you're going to have battle impact, and that's how you're going to win games. You're not going to win games by camping the back, because you're just not going to help your team very much that way. And oftentimes, they'll lose those initial engagements, and then you'll just be down on caps and ships, and then you'll be left alone against the entire enemy team without any hope of winning. Still shooting at the Benson here at longer range. If the cruiser or battleship was broadside, I might have chosen that over the Benson at these ranges, because it's an unlikely shot. Just barely missed. It was close, but now where you do want to deal with this cruiser and battleship. I'm hoping that our Benson will get away. And the biggest threat to basically our team right now is actually this mines. I'm not too scared of the Tirpitz, especially because our Baltimore is angled, so he's going to just auto bounce all of that. Baltimore with 27 mil plating, and Tirpitz with these 380 mil guns. Yeah, not going to do a whole lot. And as long as our Benson gets away, that should be a decent win for us. Now, Mines is smart. He stayed angled. Noticed that he waited until we shot, and then went for his turnout. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't quite get it in time. I think he must have stopped, bow in, and that slowed down his turn just enough that we do get a cheeky little citadel there. Guns starting to perform a little better for us. Perhaps it was a little bit of outlier dispersion early on. We still made it work, and now, as an apology, Bismarck's going to make the end of this game nice and easy for us by being extremely accurate. Or at least that's the way it seems so far. Broadside Tirpitz, I'm going to aim just above the waterline. No hope for citadels here, of course, but hoping to get a little bit of damage. And it's a pretty good win so far, to be honest with you. We nearly got that Kansas kill. I'm a little disappointed we didn't get that Kansas kill. That would have been our 4th. And then this Tirpitz would have been very close to a Kraken. And a 6v6 Kraken would be very, very nice to see. We obviously did a lot of work anyway, but it's always nice to have those achievements to go with it. Popping our plane and our hydro here. Plane to try and spot Tirpitz, and our hydro because we're just normal detected. While the Tirpitz was behind the island, he couldn't have been detecting us. So we know the Benson has come south for us. And 14k into a broadside Tirpitz? I mean, it's possible, certainly, from Bismarck guns, but given how our dispersion was going earlier, didn't exactly expect it. So we'll take it. We'll take it. Benson spotted. There we go. That radar from the Baltimore helping us out. And I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but Bismarck, I will accept this apology. 7 out of 8. like where was this earlier? I mean, when it doesn't really matter towards the outcome of the game, we'll just get perfect accuracy. But as soon as it's that early game engagement with the DD that's so crucial to winning those games, we're just going to miss everything. Oh, yes. That's what you got to deal with German battleships. You gotta take the good with the bad, I suppose. Trying to blind fire this Benson. I was trying to see which way the smoke was going and trying to lead him that way, but unfortunately we do miss it. And we leave this guy on very, very little HP. We got a few secondary hits after he went blind, or went dark, sorry. And unfortunately didn't kill him either. That would have been a Kraken as well. So we actually were nearly at 6 kills in this game. Missed it out barely on both this Benson and that Kansas. A 6-kill game in ranked would just be ridiculous. We do get a brief spot with our hydro, so we do assist on that final kill and get ourselves a nice little win here with the Bismarck. And nice to see a tech tree ship that you can just get for free by playing the game. performing so well. You don't necessarily need that overpowered Massachusetts that's only available on Black Fridays to get yourself a good game. 232 secondary hits, always nice to see. Another massive base XP game. And actually similar damage out of those secondaries. Although my build might not have been the most optimal. But nice to see a Brawling Battleship working at least. So far, at least, it seems like the ranked is probably the best thing to come out of this update. Just not allowing carriers into ranked has made it fun again, at least for me. And with this Bismarck here, we had a pretty good time. The reason I say it's not exactly optimal is we didn't have IFHE. We still had good secondary damage, but it could have been much higher. Didn't bother switching my build here. I probably should have. And honestly, if you really wanted to optimize it, you'd go with Lucians as well, getting even more secondary DPM after you get those 100 hits. But still, got some good damage out of these secondaries here. Didn't get as many fires as I thought either. When you don't take IFHE, you hope for a few more fires, and we didn't get it here. So a good example of why IFHE and that consistent damage can sometimes be better, or is often better than the more RNG-based fire damage. And that gets you secondaries here, the 105s, which are the main portion of your secondary damage, up over 32 millimeters of pen. And again, like the Massachusetts, I probably shouldn't have concealment. It's not like I'm really using it, just full sending it in a lot of the time using island cover, so may as well use fire prevention instead of concealment. That's the changes I would probably make, but otherwise, it worked out pretty well for us, I gotta say. And then propulsion mod here, as you can see, very, very, very important. We missed out on eating a lot of damage from that Kagero, I think. Without propulsion mod, we would have been in some serious pain, because this ship does not have a good torp protection at all. So you really need to be avoiding torpedoes at all costs. Hydro helps you, but you don't always have it up. And so it's always good to know how to avoid torps as best you can, varying your speed and direction, that kind of thing. For not only for ships without hydro, but even ones with hydro. Don't always have it available. So that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I had a pretty good time with this one. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day.